Hello, dear friends. Welcome to the Future Demo Weeks, the fourth episode of Smart Octo, where we go into tools, features, really quickly, 10 minutes. You'll get the quick view on how things work. Some of you were already there in some of the other episodes. We had a great one from Milos. We had a super one from Olga as well. Rutger, of course, delved into the user needs. I sort of encourage you to do so as well. It will be real time. There will be insights. And today you're dealing with me, Erik van Heeswijk, one of the founders of Smart Octo, and currently also the CEO, but that's not too important. What is more important, of course, is what is happening in AI. And to give you an overview of what we do with AI really quickly, how it works, I will try to sort of do a live demonstration on our Smart Octo AI tool and show you what we got, but also show you why we do it like this, why this is actually the way that it is being performed. Okay, let's dive into the tool. Here we go. We are currently seeing the website of the Daily Maverick, one of our esteemed clients. And this is an article about the president, Ramaphosa. You can see the total article here as well. And if we click on the Smart Octo toolkit on the right side, you only see that when you're logged in, of course. You not only can get the homepage optimization tool, Tentacles, where you can do A/B testing and stuff like that. But you also have a Smart Octo AI version in here. And why does that matter in this regard? Because we recognize that having a good UX, having good interface on the newsroom is actually really, really important. Everybody, including your newsrooms, I'm pretty sure, does a lot of experiments on generative AI, on semantics, on playing with language and stuff like that. And it's hard to keep track of all these experiments, and that's why we made a very simple UX to incorporate all of the generative AI stuff into one simple workflow, and to also make sure that every editors use the same workflow. So what happens here is the following. Basically, you see here at the top, you see a credit system. We can make it so that you pay a very small license fee and you get credits, etc., etc. We can also do a lump sum deal. That's totally fine. But what more important is that we can choose a North Star. And why do we think it's important? Because in a way, think about this, in a way, there's a lot that can happen with generative AI, but it doesn't have a goal, right? Generative AI doesn't have any clue about what you're trying to improve, what you're trying to achieve there. And of course, Smart Octo knows well, because we have all the impact metrics, we have all the goals that you're trying to achieve. So what we do here is, and it's a bit technical, we apply a lot of the metrics and data that we have with the machine learning, and we take that into the prompt engineering, into generative AI. So what you could do here, in a common layman sense, is you can choose what you want to optimize, and you also want to choose what is the North Star metric, right? What are we improving? Are we improving page views? Are we improving attention time? Are we improving social impact, conversions? There's more stuff coming there as well, and we're working on that. So we can enforce, we can support all of your business models and all of your content strategy. Then you can choose what you want to optimize, right? Do you want to optimize only the headline? Do you want to optimize the total paragraph? Do you want to optimize a story? I'll come back to that. But let's see what the simple UX does in terms of the headline. So you can choose, okay, I want to improve my page views and I want to improve the headline because I think that's not going too well. And rest assured, if you also have Tentacles, our homepage optimization system, it also warns you when the title or the paragraph is due for improvement. But what it says here, select the headline you want to optimize. Well, you just do that. You take your mouse, you select it, it keeps loading, and then it will automatically suggest 3 different headlines. You can copy it, you can take it into your CMS. We even have ways of integrating that into your CMS. So that's also great. Well, remember here what it did. It shows 3 different headlines in your style. because we are able to train this whole system on your style of writing. And it also takes the page views in this case into account, right? So it optimizes your style of headline with page views. And that's pretty unique stuff, right? It sounds simple, and it is simple in a way, and it should be simple, but it's pretty groundbreaking stuff that we turned and tuned the generative AI stuff into the impact metrics. And I think a lot of newsrooms will find out in the future that that is actually very, very important. The same you can do with paragraphs, right? I will not sort of demo it because you can completely see the flow, but if our system is able to identify to you which paragraphs are due for improvement, you can just select the paragraph and it will give you 3 alternatives for paragraph, right? And if you collect that, you should select that slide, it will slide open and will give you the paragraph, and also shows you why that is better. If you select story, then you're optimizing the whole story again. So you can choose different ways of doing that, right? So for example, there's a couple of simple things that will matter on the whole lot. So for example, let's try to extract some metadata out of this article. And if you do that, it will show to you what are the tags, basically what is sort of the categories that are in your category model. Again, here we can also train the system to recognize your category model. So you don't have to manually tag all your articles anymore. That's pretty interesting stuff, especially for journalists that don't like tagging articles. Yes, we know. But there's also named entities, right? We recognize that there is the president, we recognize the chief justice. All these names are in there, but even organizations, as you already see. And we also recognize what are the user needs named in this article. What are the user needs applied in this article? What can you do with that? Well, there's a lot of things that we can do with this. We can do it automatically as well for every article. So we have a categorization and user need API that we can apply to all of your content. And in this way, you just have a quick view on an individual level what this actually means. But we can also apply things like sentiment analysis, right? And where now it doesn't only extract the named entities, but it also applies a sentiment model to that. And it shows you, okay, the president here is very, very positively named, right? Because it's an inclusive, unifying leader. I have 0 political comments on this, so you know better. But and there's also some people that are more negatively described. And you can see at the bottom there, it has a sense of sentiment around these entities. What can you do with that? Well, on an individual article level, maybe not so much, although you can check if the sentiment is really the way you meant it to be. But also, if you do this for longer periods of time in a more automatic way, you can see how you describe people, how you describe organizations across time, right? And that could be interesting for all kinds of different reasons. Even things like readability, we can measure the readability of the story and warn you if the readability is too low, but also things like time slots, where it gives alternative time slots for a follow-up. So if you are able to make a long read about this topic, it will remind you, well, these are the best time slots if you consider these kind of topics and long reads. So it can be trained and will be trained on your data. We can also take time slots there are in a day, so you have really time slots instead of days of the week, for example. We can do all kinds of different stuff. But the biggest wow factor, and that's what we're known for, of course, for a lot of you, is the user need stuff. If you choose, again, the North Star page views, but you can also take other North Stars, you can think about doing an update or doing a rewrite on a different user need. So let's, for example, choose emotion driven. What it will do now again is take the page view approach. It will look at the total story. It will read the total story. It did that, by the way, with the headline as well. But it will read the total story and it will come back to you with 3 different blocks. The first one is a simple summary of what the article is all about. The second one is it gives you a recipe on how to make this article more emotional, or what you can do to make this article more emotional. So it says here, for example, the focus should shift on featuring the president's personal story of overcoming adversity to become the president, etc., etc. It gives all kinds of interesting tips. And at the end, it goes out of its way to give you some inspiring quotes or some inspiring examples. Again, be mindful, this is not something that you take 100% in your articles, but we know from experience and testing out with a lot of clients that this is important to inspire the editors to make a bit more of an emotional story out of this, or a contextual, or a more fact-driven. So there's a lot of stuff that we can do with SmartOcto AI as well. Obviously, we worked hard on minimizing the hallucinations of the generative AI. So for example, if we override the paragraph, it only takes these facts of the paragraph into account. Well, if you do the headline, for example, it reads the whole story and comes up with quotes as well. We are thinking about taking the user needs or different approaches in the headlines as well. So you can have a bit more of an activating headline instead of a more conceptual or a more, let's say, entrepreneurial headline. We are working on all of this different stuff, but here you see that you can already do a lot of interesting things with the overlaying AI that you currently have. So it takes into account your style, your impact, and lets you improve on stories, headlines, and paragraphs. This slide, in a nutshell, this is what we are doing. There's a lot going on in the background, so we will improve this system month after month. It will do a lot more in the next few months, but this is already something that we do, and especially for people that are into user needs. We are mentioned, let's say, richly in the Reuters digital news report that came out last week. But if you're into user needs, this is an important system to help you out there as well. Okay, maybe to see some of the questions that we have, dear attendees. I think, can we get suggestions for articles before publication? That's an important question, of course, because I am aware that all of this is about optimizing the articles that are being published, and then we can do this UX, this sort of user interface. The quick answer is yes, we can. There's a couple of different ways to do this. We are working on APIs for all of this, so you can tap into the APIs and incorporate it into your CMS. And also we're working ways on to have this overlay over your CMS as well. And we even have currently already a page where you can throw in the article just manually and get all of these tips before it actually being publicized. So yes, the answer is the multiple ways of doing this. We will have some groundbreaking methods to do this, some very easy methods to do this, but the technology is already there. What can we expect from SmartOcto in years to come? Well, that's a very broad question because we're always innovating. But if I sort of focus it on the AI stuff, I think there's a lot of different ways that we can take this forward. Clients are asking, for example, on SEO stuff. How can you give tips on improving the SEO on the different articles so we can get more search traffic? That's one of them, certainly. But, and let me sort of take you back on the slides there as well. Here, this is one of the ways that we are looking forward to this, right? So in a way, SmartOcto AI and SmartOcto in general will be a virtual assistant in the newsroom for different roles. So for example, you have here the sport editor that has different questions about, I don't know, what's the sports article this month are not providing the expected level of subscriptions, for example. This is something that the system will notify, right? Will know. But also the editor-in-chief has probably different questions about who are the articles that I need to train on making headlines, for example, right? Which are not doing so well, or which are the ones that are really doing great that the other can learn from. The business analyst will have questions about the ROI of the homepage, and maybe the sports writer will have something like, well, which paragraphs do I really need to improve? Well, this already is something that the SmartOcto AI system will do, right? It will show you which paragraphs are not doing great. And with SmartOcto AI, currently already, you can override these paragraphs immediately and have some suggestions there as well. So just to close it all off, I would say, you had your questions. You can go to a demo page. because obviously you are able to talk to us directly on this and what it can mean for you. What is actually the condition for having a sort of a stylized, a personalized version of Smart AI? I guarantee you, people will like to work with it. It's a great way of having all these experiments with AI in just one filter. And obviously, we will listen to you and see what other experiments you are currently doing. One other thing that we're currently thinking about is taking these headlines and paragraphs into the A/B testing system there as well. So if you're on Tentacles or a homepage optimization system, watch this feature like a hawk. I think we will be able to get there and help you out on making the best content possible. So basically, thanks for all of this. I will hopefully see you next time as well, and let us know if you have any questions and if we can help you out with the big AI movement that will come to us all. Thank you very much.